For over a month, Israel and Hamas have been engaged in combat. The Gaza Health Ministry said that over 10,000 Palestinians had died by the end of the 4-week period. The bloodiest day for Jews since the Holocaust was October 7, when Hamas attacked Israel, killing at least 1,400 Israelis. We'll be discussing the current war between Israel and Hamas in today's video. Please like and subscribe to our channel before we start. What sparked Israel and Hamas' most recent conflict? On October 7, gunmen from Hamas attacked Israel across the border in a way never seen before. They overran Israel's overmatched military defenses, surprised Israel's security apparatus, and repeatedly destroyed the border barrier in a well-planned stealth attack. The attackers, taken aback by the lack of opposition, escalated the operation into a violent and disorderly rampage into residential areas. How the well-thought-out Israeli strike by Hamas turned into a chaotic rampage. The militants' capture of victims from an area spanning over 20 kilometers was indicative of the extensive reach of their infiltration beyond Gaza's border with southern Israel. Women and little children made up the majority of the prisoners that the Washington Post was able to identify. More than 260 dead were found at a dance festival location roughly 3 miles from the border fence. According to Israeli officials, 5,400 individuals were hurt in the incident. There are at least 32 US citizens dead. The goal of the attack, according to Hamas, a terrorist organization that has ruled the Gaza Strip since 2007, was to free Palestinian prisoners, stop Israeli aggression on Al-Aqsa Mosque, and to break the siege on Gaza. Israel launched war on Hamas on the same day. Israel cut off food, fuel, and electricity to the enclave on October 9. Since then, some aid has continued, although far less than before the war. According to the Health Ministry, Israel has been bombarding Gaza with airstrikes and artillery since then, resulting in hundreds of deaths and over 26,400 injuries, many of them in minors. Why are Hamas and Israel at war? The origins of the most recent violence go back more than 75 years to the creation of the State of Israel and the establishment of Hamas in 1987. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim ownership of the region that lies between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Thereafter came sporadic outbursts of violence, armed conflict, and displacement. According to UN figures, there had been 308 Israeli and 6,407 Palestinian deaths in the previous 15 years prior to October 7. In recent times, Israel and Hamas have coexisted uneasy, alternating between violent flare-ups and intervals of comparatively calm relations, during which Gazans were able to labor in Israel and export commodities to the country. The primary Palestinian party, Fatah, was defeated in the 2006 elections in Gaza by Hamas, which has been classified as a terrorist group by the US since 1997. Fatah continues to lead the Palestinian Authority, the US-backed government situated in the West Bank, the second Palestinian region. The Palestinian Authority was driven out of Gaza in 2007, and Hamas took complete control of the region. Since then, Gaza has not conducted elections. Unlike the Palestinian Authority, Hamas does not recognize Israel's right to exist and is committed to using violence to achieve its goal of replacing Israel with a Palestinian state. Since taking over Gaza, the group, backed by Iran, has targeted Israel with rockets, explosives, suicide bombings, and kidnappings. With a punishing blockade and its superior military might, Israel has retaliated by limiting civilian travel within and outside of the roughly 2 million person strip and limiting imports and exports. Rights organizations have denounced this tactic as collective punishment and a breach of international law. Tensions have remained high because of the disparity in power and the slow progress toward peace and Palestinian statehood. After severe protests in May 2021 over Israeli plans to evacuate Palestinian families from a neighborhood in favor of Jewish Israelis in East Jerusalem, Hamas fired missiles against Israeli cities. Israeli commandos raided Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, a revered Muslim monument, in April. At least 22 people were killed in Gaza and 2 in Israel during a 5-day battle between Israel and Islamic Jihad, another armed Palestinian group, the following month. The Gaza Strip enjoyed a rare peaceful summer until Israel banned new work permits and prevented those who already had permits from entering the country in late August, accusing Hamas of being behind several attacks on Israeli Israelis in the West Bank. What military goals does Israel have in Gaza? A political adversary and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu created a unity government, and Netanyahu has threatened to overthrow Hamas in the Gaza Strip. According to the Israeli military, the leadership of the violent group will be a primary target. We will not only collapse Hamas' military and governmental capabilities, but ensure that they will not be able to revive themselves afterward, declared Tzachi Hanegbi, the head of Israel's National Security Council. Which Hamas officials are responsible for the attacks against Israel? Israel's earlier ground offensives into Gaza in 2014 and 2019 had a more constrained goal in mind. They aimed to penalize and weaken Hamas without totally eliminating it. During the 2019 campaign, over 1,000 Palestinians lost their lives. In 2014, that number approached 1,500, including over 500 children. Israel's restricted assaults in early November gave way to a full-scale ground invasion, increasing the risks facing Gaza's civilian population who chose to stay in their homes. What is the situation for people in Gaza? Prior to its ground assault, Israel ordered that over 1 million Palestinians residing in the northern part of Gaza evacuate southward. The call was denounced by the UN as perhaps calamitous in the midst of intense bombings, which have not stopped hitting southern and central Gaza. Residents of the Gaza Strip have seen at least 3 blackouts of their internet, cell phone, and landline telephone networks since October 7, further cutting them off from the outside world and plunging them into a state of digital darkness. US officials have stated that the US has exerted pressure to restore communications and have directly connected the blackouts to Israeli activities. Many Palestinians are struggling with severe shortages of essential commodities amid crumbling infrastructure, since they are unable to escape the enclave through its closed borders. Eventually, an agreement was made to let some humanitarian aid enter Egypt, and supplies are now gradually making their way into Gaza via the Rafah border crossing. But even as hospitals claim the scarcity of fuel is driving them to the brink, Israel has stopped fuel supplies into Gaza, claiming Hamas would use them. A few wounded Palestinians and foreign nationals have also been able to depart for Egypt thanks to restricted openings at the bridge. Residents claimed they had nowhere to go, no water, and no electricity in interviews. There have also been fatalities among journalists who were trying to report on the fighting on the ground. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, 39 journalists and media personnel have died since October 7 to 34 Palestinian, 4 Israeli, and 1 Lebanese. Israel's new EITAN APC spotted in combat against Hamas in Gaza. According to the IDF, Israel's recently formed EITAN APC has engaged Hamas in action in Gaza on its first combat missions. With 3 crew members and 12 soldiers, the EITAN is equipped with Israel's most recent defense technologies. Months ahead of schedule, Israel launched its brand new cutting-edge armoured personnel carriers, or APCs, against Hamas in the ongoing siege of Gaza. The armoured battle vehicles are in use on the ground in Gaza, an IDF spokesman confirmed to Insider. The first time an EITAN APC was used was during the October 7 terrorist strikes by Hamas in southern Israel. That's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comment section below. And make sure to like and subscribe to our channel.